Hey everyone, I'm Samantha Frontera and I'm here with the Mayor of Aurora, and we are going to be doing a fun segment, Real TIFs 101. So he's going to be breaking down really how does the TIF fund work?
Well, thank you for having me here today, Samantha. We're in the Aurora Media Center. This will be one of many presentations that we give now that we have this new media center up and running. So we thank you for coming participating in it. So today is Real Tips 101. How does a TIF work? And I want to break it down as simply as I possibly can. Matter of fact, to break it down so simple, I'm going to use little building blocks to explain how a TIF works. So I'm gonna just get started. I'll jump right in. So first of all, a TIF, a tax increment financing district, is determined by the TIF Act, established by the state of Illinois. So that means the city of Aurora or no city can just decide on their own they want to TIF a particular area.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be rules that are followed, and it has to be what's called a blighted or challenged area that is declining in value instead of increasing in value. So
Okay.
what I've done, I'll start off with a couple props that I have. I got a brown mat here. So this brown mat indicates an area that is blighted, or there's no growth there and there's no green there. So it's
Mm-hmm.
all brown and just kind of falling into ruin. So an area that's blighted like this is still on the tax rolls, but there are just not any real tax being generated by that particular area. So I'm going to indicate the tax amount in this area as one block.
Mm-hmm.
So now the city says that's not enough taxes that we'd like generated in that area because we think that area has potential. We think it has potential, but based on it being a brown and old and declining area, it hasn't shown any potential many times for decades or generations, but we still get that one block. So we go out and we find a business person willing to invest, but the business person doesn't want to invest in this area that only generates, one block worth of value. So we've got to say what we're willing to do is create a district to where once you create more value, we'll give you a percentage of it. So let's say we bring in Mr. Moneybags. He's our businessman that's willing to come in the area and build based on this TIF district being there. Now, a TIF, tax increment finance district, is created once we have approval by the state based on the area being a downtrodden area for so long. Mr. Moneybag says, I'm going to come in and build a building. So let me give these blocks over here and we're going to build a building. The value goes up substantially. We're going to say the value goes up 5 blocks. So before, the value was only 1 block when there was nothing there. Mr. Moneybags builds a development. Now the value is worth 5 blocks. Now, this value was created solely by Mr. Moneybags. If he didn't build here, it would only still be the value of this block. So what the TIF district says is we will give Mr. Moneybags a portion of the value he created.
Okay.
He created it. Now he gets a portion of it to help him to actually do the development. He'll put the money in up front, but he's going to get the money back from the value he created on his own. And then we give him a percentage of that money he created. Now, every so often, so this money here does not come out of the taxpayer fund. Doesn't come from taxes that the homeowners and pay into, our tax fund. It pays all of our bills. Doesn't come from our real estate taxes, our food and beverage taxes, our hotel. Doesn't come from anything. It only comes from the value he created by building this new development. Now, every so often, when we create this TIF district, the city of Aurora, brings in a bank. And we say, bank, we need a loan to assist with this development. It's called a bond. We take a bond, the city of Aurora takes a bond from this bank, and we say we're going to help this developer by giving him a certain amount of money. In the case of, let's say, for example, the Hollywood Casino, where we're building a new $360 million Hollywood Casino resort in the city of Aurora, right across the street on Farnsworth from our outlet mall that attracts 8 million people. We're going to capitalize on that 8 million people and the fact that it's right there by the expressway, and we have tens of thousands of people going north and south.
Every day.
East and west every single day on 98 that we want to capture, not just our outlet mall, but our new casino as well. So Mr. Moneybags builds this new casino, creates a value we give them a percentage of that value back. But sometimes, because we want to participate as partners, we say we're going to take a bond or a loan and help this development. So in this case, Aurora gave Mr. Moneybags and his company $50 million in bond money. However, again, that bond money that we give him is going to be paid back by the value he creates. So we give Mr. Moneybags a little bit of what he created, and we take some of it and we pay back the bond. We only take the bond if we're able to pay it back by the value Mr. Moneybags creates. None of this money ever comes from taxpayer funds. It all comes from the money that Mr. Moneybag creates in the value that increase, called an increment. It's an increment. So again, it used to be worth this much, which wasn't anything to the taxpayer. The new development wasn't there. Mr. Moneybags builds a new development, creates the value to this much. These are little dollar signs we see on these blocks.
Very important.
and we give him a percentage of what he created, and we take a lot of it to pay the loan back. Now, in this case of the casino and all the development deals we do, we only give a bond or a loan if the value can pay it back. The new increment or increased value can pay it back. And if it can't pay it back, let's say he only makes this much in the value once created, Mr. Moneybags has guaranteed with his own money that he's going to pay the loan back. So we're in a win-win situation. No money from the taxpayers is ever taken out of our coffers. Mr. Moneybags is on the hook to create the increment or value based on his building. He builds a new building, and we pay back the loan. And when this TIF expires, and this one was 23 years in an area that has done nothing for well over 23 years. Matter of fact, 63 years.
Right.
When that TIF expires, all that money goes to our taxing bodies, our school districts, our townships, our city of Aurora coffers. So we get more money to our coffers than we ever got than when it was just the one block, when it was just the one little small block there. We get new development, which brings new restaurants, which brings new food and beverage taxes, which bring new hotel taxes, which brings new property taxes. And we get all this extra money that we can use. No money, no sweat off the taxpayer's back at all. It's a win-win situation.
And what would you say about the importance of building relationships with these developers?
Now, Mr. Moneybags didn't ever care about the city of Aurora. Mr. Moneybags didn't think he could ever make his money back. So we had to go out and create a relationship and tell Mr. Moneybags Aurora is worth investing in. As a matter of fact, we'll show we're worth investing in by investing in ourselves with this bond that we're willing to give up front. As long as you can help us pay it back by the money, by the increment you create, we will jump in with you and we'll be part of the team. Public-private partnership, and we'll have skin in the game. Now, it's no skin off the taxpayer's back, but we'll have skin in the game because we have gone through the process of actually getting a bond or a loan, which isn't easy. But we do it because the projections say it'll be able to be paid back very quickly. And if it can't be by the increment or value, Mr. Moneybags is going to pay it back based on our deal with him.
And you explain it very well. And my last question is, what would you say are the benefits investing in here in Aurora as you built up the city?
Oh my gosh. So the benefits are this little brown area is what's called a TIF or a micro TIF, a small area. So when we build this area up, the value of all the area around it increases. Let me give you another example. We did a TIF district in an area called the former Copley Hospital. It was an old 300,000 square feet structure falling apart in the middle of a neighborhood. We did a TIF on that. And they built the hospital, created value. And not only did it create the value and we get the property taxes from that hospital, it increased the value of the whole community that used to live around a hospital falling apart in this neighborhood. Now it's flourishing and the whole neighborhood flourishes. So the relationship with Mr. Moneybags that led to the new development that creates the increase of value in all the property around the new development is prosperity for the whole city.
Absolutely. Anything else you'd like to add about the misconception or this amazing situation where I feel like you really broke this down simply for most of the community
Right.
members who might not understand.
But and sometimes these complex financing ideas of how we use a tool to do economic development
Hmm.
can be confusing. So I wanted to break it down as simply as possible. These little blocks with money on it, and the building that we built here, and Mr. Moneybags, and the bank, which is the loan or bond that the city takes. This shows how it works simply, so people can understand what we're doing. And it's been working here in the city of Aurora. As a matter of fact, we added $1 billion of value in our city in the last 6 years. $1 billion that wasn't there. $1 billion that the taxpayer gets the benefit for,
Hmm.
because it expands our tax base. The more residents, the more businesses we have, the more people are paying the tax base, and because of it, we're able to reduce our property tax rate by 16%. And we have more people in the city
Hmm.
spending money for food and beverage, staying at our hotels.
Hmm.
More people buying cars, more people living their lives and spending money in our community,
Hmm.
which drives up the value and how much money we have to spend on services, police, fire,
Hmm.
public works. Everything that our community has come to expect as services for the city of Aurora. We are the second largest city in the state of Illinois. We got to start acting like it. This
Absolutely.
has worked for us, and we want to continue to make it work for our community.
Well, thank you so much for your time. If anybody has any additional questions, how can they reach out?
They can reach out by calling our Economic Development Department, or Mayor's Office of Economic Development, or our Invest Aurora Department, which is our economic development private arm that helps us to grow our city. This set of blocks here is important to our
Hmm.
community, because we need growth. We need increase in value.
Hmm.
And although some people may say 20 years is a long time, well, we've had structures that we've redeveloped just in the last 6 years that sat empty for 50, 60, 70 years.
Hmm.
That 20 years is a small period of time to invest in our community, because after that 20-year period is over, which we saw with the outlet mall,
Hmm.
after that 20-year period is over, we get a huge windfall and a large addition to our tax base that was never there before. But for doing this and working with Mr. Moneybags, all we would ever have is that one little block.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for breaking it down.
Oh, my pleasure. I hope everybody understood.